Om Gyanatidandasya Dhananjana Shalakaya Vakshvaramritanjaya Tasmat Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakalamaya Tisvapadadika. Shigurun Vaishnavamsha Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Sadvaitam Savadutam Pajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Mamata Shri Vijakarita. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandha Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishnadana Sute Devi Paramandi Hani Priya Chaka Putra Vyascha Sandhya Titanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. If we analyze, if we want to know what we are, we can analyze the body, and we find that the body is body is made of material elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Bhagavad Gita says, Krishna says, these are my 8 separated material elements. And we see the body has water in it, it has earth, it has fire, 98.6 degrees, it has air, it has space, and we have mind, intelligence, and ego. There's a little bit of a feedback. But which one of these elements has life. Earth doesn't. What we eat food, but the food we're eating is also same elements. So where's life force? Is any one of the elements life, alive? Or are any of the elements put together alive? No. So what is it that makes, what's the difference between a dead body and a living body? They may have the same material elements, but there's a living force. Krishna answers this fundamental question in Bhagavad Gita. He says, in addition to the 8 material elements that are my separated material energies, there's another spiritual energy. Padayami tastvanya prakatim vidime param jiva bhukta mahabaho yedam taryate jagat. It means that besides this material energies, there's another superior energy, which is the jiva soul, the living entity. It's a different, in other words, what we are is we are part of Krishna, part of God. Material energy is also part of God. So in that sense, we're both energies of God. But the difference is that the jiva, or the living entity, has life, has consciousness, has awareness. Has volition. It can desire things. Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, Ekobhanam, Yoga Didatikama. Vedas say that living entities are parts and parcels of the Supreme Spirit, Krishna. And they're conscious and they're eternal like He is. And He's maintaining all of them. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, He describes the spiritual soul. He says, Ajo nityam shashvatoyam purana anyate animaleshwari najayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va. Booyah. Ajo nityam shashvatoyam purana anyate animaleshwari. For the soul, there is never birth or death, nor having once been, does he ever cease to be. He's unborn, ever existing, undying, primeval. He's not slain when the body is slain. What this means is that all of us, all the living entities, live forever, are eternal, we're a spiritual energy, not made of matter. And so we never die. Someone will say, well, how is it that we never die? We see people dying every day. So how do you say that they're not dying? They're not actually dying. What happens is, at the time of death, the soul leaves the body and goes into another body. And while we're living in this body, actually it's not exactly accurate to say this body, because it's more a series of bodies. It's a set of bodies, because the body's changing at every moment. As the body changes, I have a new body. The body I have this second is different than the body I had a second ago. And the body I had a second ago is different than the one I had 5 minutes ago. And the more time passes, the more the body changes. So it's really changing bodies. I get a set when I'm born. I get a set of changing bodies. And they don't even look the same. If we took a picture, if we had pictures of everyone here when they came out of the womb, here the children who were speaking in another place. So if we had photographs of all the birth dates when we were born, it would be difficult to ascertain who was who, because the bodies look completely different. But although the body changes, the soul remains the same. The soul doesn't change, the soul doesn't age. Everything else in the material world ages and deteriorates. Even mountains deteriorate. Even the universe deteriorates. We think the sun has been shining for millions of years, and we suspect that it seems like it will go on shining forever. But it doesn't shine forever. It has a certain time, then it stops shining. Similarly, this body has a certain duration, and then it stops functioning. But the soul has no stoppage. The soul has no time that it stops functioning. It functions forever. It doesn't die. When one learns this, when one understands this, it changes his whole outlook on life. Instead of thinking I have a certain number of years to live, and that's all, one lifetime, and not even understanding why I have this body, how did I get it? Thinking that I have to try to survive. But actually, the soul survives eternally. The soul can't be slain. Krishna says that also in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Chedyo yam adahyo yam akledyo shoshevacha nityasavakatastana achaloyam sanatana. Soul cannot be cut into pieces, cannot be burned by fire, cannot be moistened by water, or withered by the wind. Soul is indestructible. Now, sometimes people think that I'm a body that has a soul. This is even sometimes someone turn on the air or something up here? It was good before, I don't know about the air. It's added some. Well, what it was before was good for me. Now it's a little breathing. So, sometimes we hear the prayer, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. So the sentiment is nice. There's a recognition of a soul, that's good. And recognition of God, that's good. But if I say, when I die, or if I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. So who's the my? My soul. So who would be the my? The owner of the soul. It sounds like the body would be the owner. So that's a subtle misunderstanding or a gross misunderstanding of the reality. Actually, it's not that the Lord takes my soul, but He takes me, and I am a soul. I am a soul. I'm not this body. This body is just a temporary machine that I've been given to ride around in for a certain number of years or time. And when it's time for me to give up this body because of its being no longer suitable, then I get another body. This is described by Lord Krishna. Dehi nosmin yata dehe kumaram yovanam jara tata dehantar praptir tiras tatra namuyati. As the embodied soul in this body continually passes from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. This means I don't die. The biggest fear in life is death. We can fear so many things, exams, we can fear cold weather, or we can fear so many things. But the biggest fear is death. And that's the greatest trauma, or shall we say, anxiety, the greatest worry we have is that we could die at any moment. We don't know what happens then. When I was young, there was a Cold War going on between Russia and America in the 50s. And I remember one night we were watching television and they were telling about the possibility of a war. It was almost like a panic. Everyone was building bomb shelters in their houses. In school, every day, we had to practice getting down on the ground in case bombs came. You don't do that every day now, do you? Sometimes you do, but we did it every day because we were thinking that war was imminent. And one night, we're watching the television, and it was so compelling, so emotional, that they were talking about how many nuclear bombs each side had. And I remember my mother and grandmother were watching, and they were crying. They were afraid there was going to be a war. And as a little child, I went to sleep that night dreaming about war. I was dreaming about that Russia and America would go to war. And I didn't know exactly what that meant. But I had my childish idea that there would be some explosions in the sky, and there would be millions of little sparks coming out. And if one of the sparks hit you, you were dead. So all of us on the ground, we saw these explosions, and all these sparks were coming down. It was nighttime, so you could see the sparks, and we were trying to dodge the sparks. And then one of the sparks hit me. And then in my dream, I stopped existing. I was dead. And it was a great shock. It was a very terrible experience to understand what it might be to not exist. So that's a natural feeling. We all want to exist. No one wants to die. No one wants to die. And the good news is that no one does die. Once living, there's no death. There's no cessation to the soul. But although we're eternal, we've been put inside a material body that's always changing. And death is not, the soul doesn't die. Nothing really dies, because the body was never alive, so it doesn't die. And the soul doesn't die. What happens is, the soul leaves the body, goes into another body. And people who are not informed, not educated, they think that the person has died. But they say, when someone dies, people or family members are crying. If someone else comes into the room, says, "Why is everyone crying?" They say, "Because grandfather has died." They say, "He passed away." And the person coming into the room says, "No, he didn't pass away, he's here. He's lying in the bed." And they say, No, he's passed away." And then the person says, "Well, what passed away? This is the same grandfather body that we always knew." They say, "No, his life has passed away. Now this body is just a dead corpse." So then the question is, who or what passed away? Did anyone see anything pass away? Now the scientists may say, no, what's happened is there's some change in the chemicals. Chemical composition of the body changed, and because of that chemical composition, life is gone. If that's true, if you make that claim as a scientist, then you should be able to, in other words, if your science is so advanced that it knows all the chemicals in the body and knows that a certain chemical has left. And why not get some of that chemical and inject it and bring life again? That can't be done. That's because that theory is incorrect. Life is not a combination of chemicals. Life is a completely different energy. Now someone might say, why can't I see it? Because that life force is spirit. It's made of a different energy, and it can't be seen with material eyes. There's many things we can't see with material eyes. We can experience them with different senses. Just like, for example, we can't see a fragrance, rose fragrance, but we can smell it. We can perceive it with our nose. There's many things that we can't see with our eyes, like X-rays, gamma rays, ultraviolet rays, because our eyes are not capable of seeing such a wide range of visions of light. We can only see certain parts. When we close our eyes, we can't even see our eyelids. And we can't see behind us. We can't see stars in the daytime. Our eyes are defective. We shouldn't try to judge spiritual things by trying to examine them with defective material eyes. Material eyes cannot see spirit. But we can perceive spirit by hearing. This is the basis of receiving knowledge that's transcendental. Transcendental knowledge cannot be perceived by material senses. Even if one is very intelligent, say a very educated, intelligent person, high IQ, that doesn't mean that they can understand the soul by their education. It requires a different type of training, a different type of education. This education is primarily given in the Vedic literatures such as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Explains the soul. You cannot see the soul. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, some hear of him as amazing, and others just can't understand. The soul is made of a different energy that's not perceptible by material eyes or material ears. It's only perceptible through transcendental revelation. And that revelation comes through submissive oral reception or hearing. It's like now we're doing that. We're hearing about Krishna's instructions about the soul. This is transcendental system of receiving knowledge. Therefore, we will be able to perceive the soul by this type of hearing. Just like, for example, if there's a big jet airplane, gigantic jet airplane weighs many tons. It's a very big engine. But it doesn't run by itself, it needs a pilot. If there's no pilot, And the jet airplane will sit there for thousands of years till it decomposes. It's the pilot that makes it move. So similarly, it's the soul, the little tiny soul, the spiritual being in this body that makes it live, makes it alive. And when, just as when the pilot leaves the jet airplane, it stops running. He turns off the power, he gets out, it stops. Then if it gets in, it runs. And the same pilot, sometimes he gets inside a jet airplane, and then when he goes home, he gets inside an automobile, and then he rides on a bicycle, and then he goes on a boat ride, and then he goes on a submarine ride. Same person, but he's going in all these different vehicles. It doesn't mean that he's become a boat now, and now he's become a jet airplane, and now he's become a bicycle. That's ridiculous. He remains the same person, but he gets different vehicles. So similarly, we are the same spiritual being. We're individual beings. Tatvevaham yatmanasam tam neme janadivaham tachaivanam bhavishyamam sarvevaivatapura. Never was there a time, Krishna says, when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. That means we're eternally individuals. We're an individual now. We were the same individual in the past, and we'll be the same individual in the future. We don't die. This should be a cause of joy, Brahmabhuta Prasanatma. When one realizes his spiritual nature, he becomes prasanatma, joyful, because he realizes, I'm not going to die. I was thinking I was going to die, but that's wrong. Now I realize I don't die. So what's there to worry about? There's nothing to worry about. Someone may say, but then you have to give up this body, and we don't know what happens after. Only people who are uneducated don't know what happens. It's like if someone walks out the door on the back left here. They go out. So a child may cry. My mother's gone. My mother's vanished. But the adults, they console the child. No, your mother's not gone. She's not vanished. She's just gone to the restroom. She'll be back. But the child, because he can't understand, he still cries until it sees. So going out of the room may be a great disturbance for one who's uneducated. But one who's educated knows, no, she still exists. She's just in another room. There's nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. Brahmabhuta Prasanatma, Nashojati Nakamshiti, Samaksarveshu Bhuteshu, Vadbhaktim Labhate Param. This is the principal, basic understanding of spiritual life. If one understands he's not the body, then his spiritual life begins. Because he knows, I'm not this body. The body is compared, Vasamksidir Nani Yatavayaya, Vani Granati Naroparani Tato, Sharirani Vihayajinani, Anyadi Samyati Navani Dehi. As one puts on garments, takes off old garments, and puts on new ones. Similarly, the soul gives up old bodies and accepts new bodies. So this body is like a garment. It is like a garment, in fact. Some people wear animal skins as garments. We wear human skins as garments. But that's not the person. The person is inside, and remember, he's the spiritual energy of Krishna. And Krishna we accept as the supreme authority. Because someone may say, well, everyone has their theories. Krishna's got his theory. But Krishna's theory is not a theory. It's the absolute truth. How do we know that? Because Krishna is accepted as the supreme authority. By whom? Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve Devarshir Nanadastata Asito Devalo Vyasa Swam Shada Bhavishmi. He's accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by Vyasadeva, sages, Asita, Devala, Narada. These are the greatest learned scientists, learned philosophers. They accept Krishna. Krishna also declares that there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung in a thread. There's no higher truth, there's no higher power. There's no greater force, there's no greater knowledge than Krishna. So when Krishna says that you're eternal, we have faith in that, we believe it. And it's not just blindly believing out of some blind faith. We can actually examine it. The body I had when I was a little baby is different than the body I have now. The body I have now doesn't have any of the same cells that I had when my body was baby's body. But yet I'm still the same person. Why am I the same person? Someone may say, well, because the DNA is the same. No, the DNA, I discussed this with some experts on DNA. They said DNA also changes. So it's not the same DNA. Different DNA, every cell is different. So how is it that I'm the same person? If every cell of my body, it's a totally, completely different body than I had before. How can I be the same person if I'm the body? Can you explain that? You can't explain it because it doesn't make any sense. If you say that I'm the body, and every minute particle of the body is different, and how am I the same? How am I the same body? It's a different body, and I can't be the same person. No, we're the same person because the soul, that spirit soul, doesn't change. It's not affected by time. In the material world, time destroys everything. But spiritual things don't become deteriorated. They don't die, they don't diminish. They're eternally fresh. That's why even an old man, the soul in an old man's body, he still has desires. He may not be able to fulfill those desires because of his body has changed, but still he has desires. And we see little insects. There's a soul in every little insect. That's why the insects, if he's walking along the floor and you put your finger in front of him. He says, "What's this?" And he goes around. And if you put your finger again and say, "What's this?" He goes around. He has intelligence, he has desire, he wants to get someplace. You're obstructing him. So he's the same soul as I am, but he has a little body, a mini body. I have a big body. And an elephant has a huge body, and a tree has a gigantic body. Some trees weigh hundreds of tons. They're the biggest species. But it's that life force, that tiny life force, that's why we can say with conviction that every germ, every living creature, every little insect has life, has a soul. And those souls are transmigrating. This is the law of nature. When a living entity wants to leave the association of Krishna, originally we're all associates of Krishna. But we have free will. And just as good parents, they love their children, but sometimes the children leave the parents, they run away. Why is that? Parents never taught them to run away. But somehow or other they may have that desire because they're individuals. So when the living entities wish to be separate from Krishna, and he gives them a place where they can go in the material world, and they can try to live separate from him. But actually they can't live separate from him, so he has to maintain everything. He has to send them food, he has to send them water in the form of clouds, he has to give them heat and light in the form of the sun. All these arrangements are made by him. We have not been able to create any suns, or clouds, or earth, or water, or any of these things. They're all supplied by Krishna. And in our little world, this material world, we're trying to enjoy ourselves separate from Krishna. But there's a system. Krishna has set up a system. It's called the law of karma. That the living entities who come to the material world, they get different bodies. And there's 8,400,000 different varieties of bodies. Jalaja Navalakshani, 900,000 bodies of aquatics. That means living in the water. Jalaja Navalakshani, Stavaram Lakshanam Shiki. 2 million species of trees and plants. And the next one is the Krimayo Rudrasamkhya, 1,100,000 species of reptiles and insects. Pakshinam Dashalakshanam, 1 million species of birds. Trimshalakshani Pashuva, 3 million species of quadrupeds, four-legged. And Chaturlakshani Manusha, 400,000 species of humans, beginning from monkeys up to the demigods. So there's all these different species, and we get these bodies one after another. And when we reach the human form, then it's a chance for review. It's a chance for escaping this world that we thought we wanted. We thought we wanted to be separate from Krishna. And we thought we could be the enjoyer. As Krishna is the enjoyer, he's the proprietor. We thought that we could do that. We wanted to imitate. So we've been living in this this world, this imitation world, for a long time. But when we reach the human form of life, there is opportunity for education, for enlightenment. That's why Krishna left Bhagavad Gita for us, to learn how to get out of this cycle of birth and death. It's a great opportunity. Our lives in human form are not so long. And it's a great science to learn how to get free from the cycle of birth and death. And we have to dedicate a good portion of our time to this matter. It's not such a simple thing to understand. Especially it makes it more complicated because most of the human beings are ignorant. And when we associate with ignorant people, we also get some of their ignorance. So it's a challenge. It's the great challenge. What are we going to do with this life? Now, most people think that life is just meant for aharanidram mayam maitunam, aharanidram bayam maitunam cha. Eating, sleeping, mating, and fearing. Most people think that that's what life is for. All the animals think that. But actually, that's not what the soul in the human form is supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be inquiring into the absolute truth, the Tattva Brahma Jigyasa. And when we inquire into the absolute truth, we find out that getting free from the suffering of material existence is not so difficult. It just requires a change in consciousness. And everyone can do it. And that change of consciousness comes by practicing Bhakti Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga, yoga means to link with God, to try to please the Lord in every activity that one performs. That's what Bhakti Yoga means. That means we should try to please the Lord when we get up in the morning, when we go to bed at night, when we walk, whatever we do, when we talk, when we eat. Krishna says, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. In other words, the whole life should be molded around pleasing Krishna and serving Krishna. Someone may say, but if I spend so much time trying to take care of Krishna, then how about me and my family? That's a question. Actually, that was answered a little earlier before. Eko bahanam yo vididati kama. Because that one Krishna person is supplying the necessities of all the other living entities, all the little souls like us. Because if we think I'm supplying for my family independently, that's not true. We're not supplying the sunshine. We're not supplying the rain. We're not supplying the earth. So how can we take credit? We're just bartering. He's given these things. So if he's given all these big things and all the seeds and all the grains and the fruits and the vegetables, what makes us think he's not going to take care of us? And besides that, the elephants, they eat 40 kilos at a time. If you go to Africa, you see there's hundreds and thousands of elephants, and they're not starving. Who's supplying for them? They don't have a master's degree, they don't even have a bachelor's degree. But yet they're eating very nicely. They're being maintained. Big whales. Who's supplying for them? So it's not true that I'm independently supplying for myself, or my family, or my country. It's all being supplied by Krishna. And if I engage in service to Krishna, then I'll be taken care of, my family will be taken care of, my nation will be taken care of, and we'll all be liberated from this miserable cycle of birth and death. That's all Krishna wants. Just love me. Bhaktya mama vijanati yavanyas chasmi tattvata. Stomam tattvato gyatva vashatetananda. If you want to go back to Godhead, Krishna says, just engage in devotional service in this lifetime. But some of your colleagues may criticize you. You're wasting your time. We could be enjoying. But the devotees, those who engage in bhakti yoga, the bhaktas, they know that I'm not missing anything except wasting time. It's like a dog. A dog chews on a bone. He can chew on a bone for hours. Have you ever seen a dog chew on a bone for hours? He chews this way, and that way, and this way, and that way. And if you wonder, why is he doing that? He's doing that because he's a foolish dog. He has nothing better to do than chewing the bone. But humans have better things to do. They know how to serve Krishna. And the Guru teaches us, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena seva upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninastapadarshana. The Guru teaches us the absolute truth, how to serve Krishna, how to get free from suffering. This is the most important education. But the Guru cannot just be anyone. It's not that everybody can be a Guru, or if you grow long hair, or if you put on saffron cloth, you're a Guru, or whatever. One becomes a Guru. Tadvijnanartam saguru me vabhigachet samipani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. He has to be fixed in the absolute truth. He's learned the science from Krishna or Krishna's representatives. This is how the knowledge comes down. What I'm speaking to you today is not my own ideas. I'm speaking what Krishna has said and what I've heard from disciplic succession. Therefore, it's perfect knowledge. I may not be perfect. I'm not perfect. But because I've heard from the perfect source, Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, and I'm passing it on, therefore it's perfect. It's like a wire when it's connected to the powerhouse. It has all the power of the powerhouse. It can carry such a huge current